Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we got a couple things to discuss as we not only continue our game review recap from over the past few days in Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but we also look at how each of the standings look like at the 10 game mark and how the West could be finalized already. We'll get to all of that coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the Internet Hockey Channel. Now before we begin this video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe down below. We are so close to 100 subscribers. Thank you for all of your support. I would never be able to do this without you guys, so definitely don't forget to subscribe. Now, as usual, I'm going to start off by discussing some of these game review recaps from the last couple of days. We're going to start off with the 15-game day Saturday, then the 2 games on Sunday, and then the 4 games on Monday. So we have a lot of games to discuss here today. First, we had the Nashville Predators and the Edmonton Oilers Saturday morning play, and the Nashville Predators were able to come away with a huge 5-2 victory. Edmonton opened the scoring, but Nashville was able to score 5 of the next 6 goals. They looked really dominant. Edmonton looked slow. They once again couldn't defend. It was once again problems to defend for the Oilers. So the Nashville Predators will come with the victory. They got a hat trick from Ryan O'Reilly, 4.9 from him, 3 goals and an assist. Philip Forsberg had 3.9 himself with a goal and 2 assists. Novak had a goal and an assist. Carey had a couple of assists for Nashville in the win. Meanwhile, Nurse and Hyman were 2 goal scorers for the Oilers in the loss. So once again, Oilers not doing overly well and they continue to falter. Preds, they look alright and they improved to a huge record of 5-6-0, closer to 500. Oilers dropped in the 10-game mark to 2-7-1. So the Oilers continue to fall. Well, the Preds have a huge win for themselves. Then for the Winnipeg Jets, they had a really good night as they were able to come back from down 3-2 to oust the Arizona Coyotes 5-3 to improve to 5-4-2. So that was a huge win to get themselves over 500. There was a couple of really good moments in that game. None other than this one here. The 5-3 goal that Winnipeg got was from Nino Niederreiter, who completed his hat trick. He wound up having a hat trick in this game, so it was a really good game from Nino Niederreiter, who's a pending UFA. He's continuing to up his value for his next contract, so good to see Niederreiter had a really good game here with a hat trick to help the Jets win. On top of that, Brendan Dillon had 2 goals and an assist in this game, and then both Adam Lowry and Mason Appleton had 2 assists. I think Lowry and Appleton are Niederreiter's line mates, so really good game from the Jet third line. Dillon had a really good game, and that really did help the Winnipeg Jets win. The Arizona Coyotes had Krause having a goal and an assist, and then both Moser and O'Brien also scored for the Coyotes. So Coyotes did really good. They kept it close. They had a lead at 1 point, but the Jets do come away with the victory. Jets improved to 5-4-1. Coyotes dropped to a 500 record of 5-5-2. So really close game, but it is the Jets who come away with the victory. So really solid win there for Winnipeg. The St. Louis Blues were able to oust the Montreal Canadiens on Saturday 6-3. They were able to get out to an early lead, and they would hold on to double up the Montreal Canadiens and improve to 5-4-1 in their first 10 games. So really solid start there from the Blues. Shen and Kyrou both had 3.9 with a goal and 2 assists. Thomas and Saad both had a goal and an assist. Toropchenko and Kapanen also scored for St. Louis in the win, while Montreal had a goal and an assist from Brendan Gallagher, and Nick Suzuki and Yuri Slavkovsky also scored for Montreal in the losses. The Canadiens dropped to 5-4-2 on the season. So Canadiens have lost a couple of straight games now. They're starting to sort of regress a little bit like I was expecting them to do, but still, the Canadiens look alright. They're still putting up some goals. Suzuki, Caulfield, Monahan, they all look still pretty good. So the Canadiens are still doing really good. They're still being really competitive. The Blues, meanwhile, they started out over 500 in the first 10 games. They look really good. They're still having some trouble scoring. This one was a really good breakout offensive game for them, but I still have some concerns about the goal scoring effort, so we'll have to wait and see how they do over the next few games, but it was a really good win for the St. Louis Blues. Then you had the Tampa Bay Lightning beat the Ottawa Senators 6-4. It was a really good game. The Bolts would take an early lead and really never look back. Kucherov had a 5.9 in this game with a goal and 4 assists. Braden Point had a hat trick and a 4.9 with 3 goals and an assist. Hedman had a goal and an assist, as Isemont also scored for the Bolts in the win. Meanwhile, for the Senators, Tkachuk had a 3.9 with 2 goals and an assist. Sanderson had a 2-assist night. Batherson and Giroux also scored for Sens in the loss. The Bolts improved to 5-3-3. Sens drop in their first 10 games to 4-6-0. So really bad start there from the Sens. Identical start to their first 10 games last year. They are not doing overly well. They have injuries galore, and they can't really find their stride right now. Bolts, on the other hand, have looked really good. They're not doing overly bad right now. They're still having a solid season even without Andrei Vasilevsky, and while they're not doing overly well and they're not a guaranteed top 3 team right now, they're still in the playoff hunt, they're still in the playoff mix, they're still keeping up just a lot more than I thought they would be able to do. So really good stuff there from Tampa as they're keeping above 500 and they're keeping pace with some of these other teams in the wildcard race. Sens, meanwhile, have injuries, a lot of them, and it's really altering their play right now. Then you had the Washington Capitals take down the Columbus Blue Jackets 2-1 on Saturday to improve to 5-4-1 in their first 10 games. Wilson and Milano were the 2 goal scorers for the Caps in the win. Voronkov was the lone scorer for the Jackets in the loss. Jackets dropped to 4-5-2. Caps improved to 5-4-1 in their first 10 games. So once again, Caps have had a pretty solid start to the season, especially considering that they went 1-3-0 in their first 4 games. So they look really, really good since that first 4 games. They're 4-1-1. So Caps look really scary. They look really, really good. They're a lot better now. Ovechkin's still not at his best, so hopefully he can get back into regular Ovechkin form. But for now, he's not doing overly well, but still, the Caps are finding ways to win. Jackets drop to below 500. Not overly surprising, given the fact that they're not a perfectly great team right now, but still, the Jackets, they definitely need to step up their game. Then we had the Leafs play the Sabres. It was a really, really good game from both the Sabres and the Leafs. It was back and forth. The Sabres would take a lead, the Leafs would tie it up. Sabres would take a lead, Leafs would tie it up. Eventually, the Sabres would take a lead, they would hold on. They won 6-4 over the Maple Leafs. So it was a big win for Buffalo. For Toronto, not overly fantastic loss. So huge game there from both sides. For the Sabres, they had Tuck score twice for this Sabres team. Peterka had a goal and an assist, while Greenway, Skinner, and Thompson all also scored for the Sabres in the win. Meanwhile, for the Maple Leafs, they had a fantastic game from Austin Matthews, who scored the 4th goal for the Leafs. This goal here, I remember all clips are credited to Sportsnet, but he scored this goal here to complete his hat trick, his 3rd hat trick of the season, as Matthews would score 3 times for the Leafs and get a hat trick in this game. Marner had a 4-point night with a goal and 3 assists, but was not enough for the propel the Leafs to a win. So Leafs look pretty good. One of their better games in a while, but they still found a way to lose. Sabres, on the other hand, find a way to win. Complete team effort. That was a huge win in the second half of a back-to-back after falling to the Philadelphia Flyers. That was a must-win for the Sabres, and they're able to get it. So Sabres continue to look good at some points, bad at some points. It was definitely a high-scoring affair, so still need to tighten up on defense, but their offense continues to produce on all cylinders. Matthews, Marner, Nylander continue to produce for the Leafs, but they are still not able to get a win, even when Matthews has a hat-trick this game. So, huge game there from Matthews, huge game there from Marner, but the Leafs find themselves on the losing end of a 6-4 game. Then we had the Detroit Red Wings end the Boston Bruins for a first time in regulation after starting the season 9-0-1 with a 10-game point streak, something only 21 teams in NHL history have done, including the Bruins up to that point. The Bruins will wind up having their point streak to start the season end. The Red Wings would come from behind and beat the Boston Bruins 5-4 to improve to 7-4-1 on the season. So it was really good stuff there from the Detroit Red Wings. Red Wings had Perron have a 3-assist night with a goal and 2 assists. Larkin and Raymond both had a goal and an assist. Comfer had a 2-assist night, while Kopp and Wallman also scored for the Red Wings. For the Bruins, JVR, Poitras, Pastrnak all had a goal and an assist, while Coyle also scored for the Bruins in the loss. With the Wings, they improved to a 7-4-1 record. So, huge win there for the Red Wings. After a week ago, losing to Boston, when Boston was still undefeated, they're able to come then this time, and they're able to get the win. So that's a huge win for Detroit to improve to 7-4-1 and close the gap between them and the Bruins. For the Bruins, it was eventually going to be a regulation loss. It hurts to be a division rival, but they were eventually going to lose. So they wind up losing to the Detroit Red Wings. It's not a fantastic outcome for the Boston Bruins, but still, it's something that they were eventually going to do. They still looked really good. They still had a couple of opportunities to put this game away. They never did. So once again, it was a solid game from both sides, but the Detroit Red Wings were able to come away with the victory and send Boston to their first regulation loss of the year. Then the LA Kings were able to beat the Philadelphia Flyers 5-0. Absolutely dominating performance from the LA Kings to improve to 7-2-2 on the year. Byfield had a 3-assist night. Moore and Kaliev both had a goal and an assist, while Kempe, Kopitar, and Lizotte also scored for the LA Kings, and Talbot stopped all 24 shots he faced in his, I think, first, maybe second shutout of the season. For the Philadelphia Flyers, the loss drops them to 5-6-1. So the Flyers continue to fall. Second half of a back-to-back, aren't able to get back-to-back wins after beating Buffalo. But they're having really good competitiveness. They're still somewhat keeping it close, but I think they're starting to fall off like we all expected them to do. Kings continue to look dominant, 5-0 over the Philadelphia Flyers. They look absolutely fantastic, so huge win there for the LA Kings, and they continue their hot start to the season. Meanwhile, the Carolina Hurricanes were able to come from behind to beat the New York Islanders 4-3 in overtime. They were down 3-0 at one point, but they came all the way back, tying it up 3-3 in the third period, then getting the OT winner to beat the Islanders 4-3 and improve to 7-5-0 in the season. Huge win there for the Canes. The Carolina Hurricanes were able to get a goal and an assist from Kotkaniemi. Svechnikov had 2 assists, and then Aho, the OT winner, Orlov, the first of his career in Carolina, and Chatfield also scored for the Carolina Hurricanes in the win. While for the Islanders, Barzal had a goal and an assist, Horvat had 2 assists nights, and both Holmstrom and Dobson also scored for Islanders in the OT loss as they drop to 5-2-3 in their first 10 games. So Islanders have had a really good start to the season, not something I was expecting. They're able to keep on keeping the puck out of their net and getting leads that they can hold on to. So this game, though, they were not able to hold on to the lead. Carolina looks really, really good. Once again, did they really want to give up so many goals early on? No, but their offense is so resilient, they were able to come back from a 3-0 deficit. So, huge win there for the Carolina Hurricanes to improve to 7-5-0. Really big win, especially against the division rival who's doing really good right now. Islanders loss, not overly fantastic. They would definitely, I think, would want that game back and would want to try and keep their lead. But still, they had a solid game. As long as they can lock down those games on a usual basis, they should be fine. But that was a really, really bad blow for the New York Islanders as they drop 5-2-3 on the season. Then we had the Chicago Blackhawks get out to an early 3-0 lead and hold on to beat the Florida Panthers 5-2. That was a really good game for the Chicago Blackhawks, who had a bounce-back performance to improve to 4-6-0 on the season. Kurashev had 3.0 with a goal and 2 assists. Bedard, Hall, first in Chicago, so it took him a while, but Taylor Hall finally has his first as a member of the Blackhawks. Foligno and Zaitsev also scored for the Blackhawks in the win, while Verhaeghe had 2 assists, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Tkachuk also scored for the Panthers in the losses. The Panthers dropped to 5-4-1 in their first 10 games. So Panthers did not look overly great in this game. This was definitely a game that was controlled by the Blackhawks. They got out to a 4-0 lead at some point in the second period. Were able to cruise control this to the end of the game. So Panthers really needed to step up their game and go back to the drawing board, definitely find a way to get a better start to the game. Hawks, meanwhile, huge win for them, improving to 4-6-0, but still not a fantastic start to the season. So, really good game there from the Hawks, but they still have a losing record at the 10-game mark. The New York Rangers opened the game up early with a 3-0 lead, but they would wind up losing 5-4 in a shootout to the Minnesota Wild, who came back from down 3-0. So it was a really good game there from the Minnesota Wild, who improved to 4-5-2 on the year. Zuccarello had a goal and an assist. Rossi, Hardman, and Eriksson Ek also scored in regulation for the Minnesota Wild, while Zuccarello and Boldy scored in the shootout for the Wild. Meanwhile, Gustafsson and Panarin both had a goal and an assist for the Rangers. Kreider and Vesey also scored in regulation for the Rangers, while Panarin was the lone goal scorer in the shootout for the Rangers in the loss. So it was a really close game. Rangers were able to get a 3-0 lead early. They are playing down Fox. They're playing down Shesterkin right now, so battering down a lead, especially early on, is going to be difficult for the Rangers right now. Wild were able to take advantage of it and improve to a 4-3 lead. Rangers were able to tie it late, get to overtime. They're at least going to get a point out of this game, so that's at least a win. But definitely, they're going to need to play a lot better defensively with Fox and Shesterkin out. But still, it was a really good game from both sides, and the Rangers were able to come away with at least a point. Then we had the Golden Knights play Avalanche. This was a game a lot of people had circled on the calendar early on when the Knights and Avs were both undefeated, as this was going to be a really good test for each team to see how they stack up against the best team in each division. And this was an absolute blowout from the Vegas Golden Knights. At this point in time, the Knights had improved their point streak to 12 games, improving their record to 11-0-1 at that point, beating the Colorado Avalanche 7-0. They absolutely destroyed the Avalanche. Stone had a 4-point night with 2 goals and 2 assists. Eichel and Karlsson both scored twice for the Golden Knights. Dorofeev and Stevenson had 2 assists. And Carrier also scored for the Knights, with Aiden Hill stopping all 41 shots he faced in the win for the Golden Knights. Meanwhile, the Avalanche get shut out and fall to a 7-3-0 record. So, in games they've scored in, they've won and they're 7-0-0. In games they have not scored in, they are lost and are 0-3-0. So obviously the recipe for winning for the Colorado Avalanche is score a goal and you should win. And if you don't score a goal, expect to lose. That's basically the recipe for success for the Avalanche. But for the Knights, this was an absolutely dominating performance. They really had a really good game. They really held the Avalanche really well. Hill was fantastic in net. The Knights really beated the Avalanche in pretty much every aspect of the game, and they were able to come away with an absolutely dominating performance, putting up a converted touchdown on the Colorado Avalanche. So really, really bad game there from the Avs, and hopefully they can bounce back, but that was a really good game there from Vegas. Then we had the Calgary Flames come back from, I'm pretty sure they were down 3-2 at one point, to beat the Seattle Kraken 6-3 in regulation. Huge win there for the Calgary Flames as they end their 6-game losing streak and improved to 3-7-1. So that was a major win for the Flames. Backlund scored twice. Hanifin, Anderson, Pospisil, first NHL goal, and Sharangovich all scored for the Calgary Flames in the win, while Gord had 2 assists, and Schwartz, Tolvanen, and Bjorkstrand scored for the Kraken in the loss as they dropped to 4-6-2 on the season. Really, really bad stuff from the Kraken. After a couple of wins, it looked like they were starting to turn things around. They were even winning in this game. They wound up losing, so that's a really bad loss for the Kraken. They definitely need to bounce back a little bit better. If you look at the Calgary Flames, they had a fantastic game, really solid performance there from the Flames, and it was a really good showing there to bounce back. So good stuff from the Flames to get the huge win, and their losing streak. Kraken continued to fall, and now another 2 games below 500. Then we had the Vancouver Canucks beat the Dallas Stars 2-0. Really close game. Both goals were really good. The Canucks were able to come away with a small margin of victory of 2-1. The Canucks were 7-2-1. The Stars were 7-1-1. So both teams were doing really, really good to start the year. Canucks were able to get goals from Suter and Pettersson to get the win. Demko stopped all 27 shots he faced in the shutout, and Canucks were able to get the win. So Canucks continue to do really good to start the season. Stars falter in this game, but they still had a really good game, and they're still up to 7-2-1 at the start of the season. So Canucks up to 8-2-1, Stars down to 7-2-1. Both teams still look really good, and this was a really close, tightly contested affair. Meanwhile, the last game of the night was the Penguins and the Sharks. The Sharks, for a second straight game, gave up a 10 spot, giving the Penguins a 10-2 win over the San Jose Sharks. Sharks are at this point being embarrassed on a nightly basis right now. After giving up 10 goals to the Canucks, they now give up 10 goals to the Penguins. Penguins were able to get a goal and 3 assists from Brian Rust. Smith and Gensel both had 2 goals and 2 assists. You had Malkin scoring twice. Hinestroza had a goal, his first as a member of the Penguins, and an assist. Erik Karlsson and Rickard Rakell both had 2 assists. Karlsson in his first game back against San Jose. Letang and Nieto, first in Pittsburgh, also scored for the Penguins in the win, while Duclair and McDonald both had a goal and an assist, and Hurl had 2 assists in the loss for the Sharks. So at least the Sharks were able to get a couple of goals in this game. But still, a really bad performance from the Sharks. They continue to give up a ton of goals. They're still not able to find the net on a consistent basis. Penguins, that was a huge improvement game. They needed that win. They're up to 4-6-0 in that game. They're only down under 500 by 2 games right now, so that's not overly bad, but still, that was a major stepping stone in the right direction for the Penguins. Sharks fall to a really bad record. So hopefully the Sharks can win a game. They're now down to 0-10-1 at this point in time. The Penguins have a really good win and improve their record. Then the New Jersey Devils, in their first game without Jack Hughes, beat the Chicago Blackhawks 4-2 to improve to 7-3-1. Early on, it was really good from the Devils. They were able to lock this game down early. Hawks, after winning over the Florida Panthers, really didn't have much in the tank against a really good New Jersey Devils team. So Devils were able to really come away with a huge victory here. Devils were able to get goals from McLeod, Lazar, Mercer, and Willman, first as a member of the Devils, who all scored for the Devils in the win. Meanwhile, for the Hawks, Donato and Hull were the 2 goal scorers for the Blackhawks in the loss. So it was a really close game, really tightly contested affair, but it was the Devils who come away with the victory. Then on this nightcap game on Sunday, a surprising result as Knights lost their first game of regulation to the Anaheim Ducks. Ducks scored a late game-breaking goal to give themselves a 3-2 lead and held on for a 4-2 victory over the Vegas Golden Knights. Knights' first regulation loss of the season. The Ducks were able to get a couple of goals from Sam Carrick. Fowler and Vetrano both had 2 assists, and Henrique McTavish also scored for the Anaheim Ducks in the win, while Eichel had a goal and an assist, and Barbashev also scored for the Knights in the loss. Knights dropped to 11-1-1, and their 12-game point streak is done. Knights had a fantastic start to the season, 12-game point streak, only the 10th team in NHL history to have a 12-game point streak or better to start the season. They looked really good, but still, it was the Ducks who came away with the victory. They are now won 6 in a row. They're up to 7-4-0. They look fantastic. The Ducks have now handed the Bruins their first loss of the season, and the Knights their first regulation loss of the season. The Ducks team looks like they've turned a corner, and they look fantastic. So those are all some pretty good games there from a couple of days ago on Sunday. Then we had some games yesterday. First with the Florida Panthers and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Panthers were able to get up to a 3-0 lead. Jackets would work their way way back slowly but surely, got up to a 4-3 lead. Panthers would tie it late, sent to overtime, where they would win it 5-4 in overtime. So huge 2 points there from the Panthers against a team who's done all right. Panthers improved to 6-4-1 on the season. Jackets drop to 4-5-3 on the season, so definitely it was a really close game. Jackets were able to crawl their way back, but they were not able to get the win, as the Panthers were able to get the OT victory. Reiner had 2 assists tonight, while Barkov, Cousins, Verhaeghe, which was the OT winner, Lomberg, and Forsling all also scored for the Panthers in the win. Huge win there for Florida. Meanwhile, for the Jackets, Texier had a goal and an assist. Branson had 2 assists, while Jenner, Marchenko, and Corrali also scored for the Jackets in the loss in OT, as they dropped to 4-5-3 on the season. So definitely, it was a really close game. Good game from both sides, but the Panthers come away with the victory. Then you had the Tampa Bay Lightning play Toronto Maple Leafs. Again, Lightning were up 4-1 at the end of the first period. Then the Leafs would crawl their way back, take a 5-4 lead. Bolt with the late goal was sent into OT 5-5. But then this goal here from Calle Jarnkrok gave the Leafs once again another OT victory against the Tampa Bay Lightning, as they would win 6-5 in overtime. Huge win there for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They improved to 6-4-2 on the season. Marner had a 4-point night with a goal and 3 assists. Matthews had 2 goals and 8 assists. Nyes had a goal and 2 assists, both having 3-point nights. Jarnkrok scored twice, including the OT winner. Riley had a 2 assist night for the Leafs in the win. They had a fantastic game, and all of their big players wound up showing up. Meanwhile, for the Tampa Bay Lightning, Kucherov had a 4-point night himself with 2 goals and 2 assists. Hedman had 3-point night with a goal and 2 assists. Hagel and Point both had goal and assist for Tampa in the OT loss, as they fall to 5-3-4 in the season. So huge win there from the Leafs to improve to 6-4-2, especially against the division rival who they really don't want to give points to. Meanwhile, Tampa continues to lose in overtime. They cannot find a way to win in overtime. They're down to 5-3-4, 4 OT losses. This has been a real bad trend for the Tampa Bay Lightning, but at least they're still getting points. So they're finding ways to send this to extra time. They just can't find the way to get the extra point in extra time. So it's definitely a really good game there for the Tampa Bay Lightning, but they fall to 5-3-4, while the Leafs are going to escape with the win. Then you had the Boston Bruins get a 3-2 win over the Dallas Stars. Their younger players were able to get some first career NHL goals, including Lowry and Beecher, both scoring their first NHL goals. Marchand also scored. He wound up getting the game winner for the Boston Bruins. For the Dallas Stars, Pavelski and Johnston scored for the Stars in the loss, as they drop to 7-3-1 this season. Bruins improved to 10-1-1, so a really good win there for the Bruins to bounce back from their first regulation loss. Stars have now lost back-to-back games in regulation against 2 really good teams, and they're hoping to get a win in their next game to improve their record. So really interesting stuff there from the Stars and the Bruins. Then you had the Vancouver Canucks. Once again played Edmonton Oilers. They played twice this season. Canucks won both times. Add a 3rd win to the Canucks tally against the Edmonton Oilers this year after a 6-2 beatdown of the Edmonton Oilers. Oilers will open the scoring, but the Canucks would then take over the game, and they would win 6-2. Thanks to some really good play from some of their bigger players to improve to 9-2-1. The Canucks would get a 4-point night from Quinn Hughes with a goal and 3 assists. Brock Besser scored twice, and Miller had a goal and an assist. Ronick had a 2 assist night, while Höglander and Suter also scored for Vancouver in the win. Meanwhile, Draisaitl and Ekholm were 2 goal scorers for the Oilers in the loss, who dropped to 2-8-1. The Oilers do not look good. The Oilers cannot stop pucks. They cannot score at a usually high level that they can. I think the biggest part of how different Edmonton and Vancouver looked this year was when the Edmonton Oilers were able to get a bad goal from Thatcher Demko, who was caught behind the net. Edmonton Oilers put the puck into the empty net. That made it 3-2 in the early part of the second period. Had that been last year, the Canucks, had they given up that goal, would have probably folded and wound up losing that game. Had the Oilers scored that sort of a goal, that would have been a momentum swing that would have gotten them a couple more goals and given them the victory. In this game, the Canucks were able to really quickly answer back, score a 4-2 goal, and they would hold on for a 6-2 win. This Canucks team looks different. They look like they are playing at an extremely different way. The Oilers look different. They don't seem to be having momentum swings in their favor. So I think this Canucks team looks different, this Oilers team looks different, and both teams look completely different than they had been in the past. So definitely interesting to see how both these teams wind up doing. But those are your game reviews from the past couple of days. I was just looking at the last 10 teams who had their 10 game reviews. For the Chicago Blackhawks, they start 4-6-0 in their first 10 games, 8 points, 24 goals for, 34 goals against, -10 record. Connor Bedard and Corey Perry were the only 2 players who have 7 points at the 10-game mark. Bedard had 5 goals, 2 assists, 7 points, and Perry had 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points. So both of them have 7 points to start the season. For the Florida Panthers, they had a 5-4-1 record at 10-game mark, 11 points. They had 26 goals for, 28 goals against, -2 record. They had Rodriguez with 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points. Barkov has 2 goals, 7 assists, 9 points, as does Tkachuk. And then Reinhart has 8 goals, 3 assists, 11 points. He's on pace for 66 goals and 91 points. So Reinhart's definitely being a driving force on the offense this year for the Florida Panthers. Our Avalanche were 7-3-0 at the 10-game mark for 14 points, 32 goals for, 28 goals against, a +4 rating. Arturi Lehkonen had 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points. Nathan MacKinnon has 4 goals, 5 assists, 9 points. Makar has 3 goals, 8 assists, 11 points, on pace for 91 points. Meanwhile, Mikko Rantanen has 6 goals, 8 assists, 14 points. He's on pace for 66 assists and 115 points. So Rantanen's being a really good offensive driver on that team too. The Pittsburgh Penguins had a 4-6-0 record for 8 points, 36 goals for, 31 goals against, a +5 rating. Then you had Carlson has 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points at this point in time. Crosby had 5 goals, 6 assists, 11 points. Both Smith and Rust have 6 goals, 5 assists, 11 points. Gunsel has 4 goals, 9 assists, 13 points, on pace for 74 assists and 107 points. Malkin has 7 goals, 6 assists, 13 points. He's on pace for 57 goals and 106 points. So Penguins look really good at the 10-game mark. For Dallas Stars, they're at 7-2-1 for 15 points, 34, 26 against, a +4 rating. Johnson has 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points. Robertson has 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points. Ben has 3 goals, 6 assists, 9 points. Pavelski has 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points on a point-per-game pace right now. And Hintz has 5 goals, 6 assists, 11 points. He's on pace for 90 points. So the Stars have had a really good start to the season in their first 10 games. The Islanders started 5-2-3 in their first 10 games for 13 points, 27-4, 27 against, the even rating. Nelson has 5 goals, 2 assists, 7 points. Barzal has 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points. Palmieri has 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points. Horvat has 4 goals, 5 assists, 9 points. And Dobson's on a point-per-game pace right now with 3 goals, 7 assists, and 10 points. So the Islanders look really good right now at the 10-game mark. The Washington Capitals have a 5-4-1 record for 11 points. They have a 21 goals for, 30 goals against, a -9 rating. Only 2 players who are above 7 points at the 10-game mark is John Carlson, who's a goal, 6 assists, 7 points, and Alex Ovechkin, who has 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points. So neither one are doing overly well for the Capitals to start the season. Then you had the Ottawa Senators, who started the season 4-6-0 for 8 points. They have 38 goals for, 35 goals against, a +3 rating, which is really good for a team who's below 500 right now. Greg's 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points. Norris, 4 goals, 3 assists, 7 points. Joseph, 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points. Sanderson, 3 goals, 6 assists, 9 points. Chikrin, 4 goals, 5 assists, 9 points. Tarasenko on a point-per-game pace right now at 3 goals, 7 assists, 10 points. Stützle has 2 goals, 9 assists, 11 points. Giroux has 3 goals, 8 assists, 11 points. And Tkachuk has 8 goals, 3 assists, 11 points, just like Reinhart, on pace for 66 goals and 91 points. So, once again, the Sens are getting lots of scoring, but their defense does not look overly great. The St. Louis Blues have 5-4-1 record for 11 points. They have 25 goals for, 28 goals against, a -3 rating. The only player with over 7 points is Robert Thomas, who has 4 goals, 5 assists, 9 points. That's not going to be a recipe for success if they're not getting very much scoring, so hopefully they can find a way to put the puck in the net more often. And then the Edmonton Oilers started the season 2-7-1 for 5 points, 27 goals for, 41 goals against, a -14 rating. RNH has 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points. Kane has 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points. McDavid is on a point-per-game pace right now with 2 goals, 8 assists, 10 points. Bouchard has 3 goals, 7 assists, 10 points, also on a point-per-game pace. Hyman has 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points, also on a point-per-game pace. And Draisaitl has 4 goals, 9 assists, 13 points. He's on pace for 74 assists and 107 points. But definitely, this is not the Oilers team that I was expecting to come into the season. So those are the other 10 teams reached the 10-game mark up to this point. So if you look at the standings as of the 10-game mark, here's what the standings would look like with all the teams having reached their 10th game. So Dallas would lead the Central Division at a 7-2-1 record for 15 points. Then you have Colorado at 7-3-0 for 14 points. Arizona at 5-4-1 for 11 points. St. Louis at 5-4-1 for 11 points. Winnipeg at 4-4-2 for 10 points. Nashville and Chicago at 4-6-0 for 8 points, and Minnesota at 3-5-2 for 8 points. In the Pacific, you'd have Vegas at 9-1 for 19 points, Vancouver at 7-2-1 for 15 points, LA at 6-2-2 for 14 points, Anaheim at 6-4-0 for 12 points, Seattle at 3-5-2 for 8 points, Edmonton and Calgary at 2-7-1 for 5 points, and the Sharks at 0-9-1 for 1 point. You have the Rangers leading the Metro with an 8-2-0 record for 16 points. Jersey would have 6-3-1 record for 13 points. The Islanders would have 5-2-3 record for 13 points. Carolina 6-4-0 record for 12 points. Washington 5-4-1 for 11 points. Jackets 4-4-2 for 10 points. Flyers 4-5-1 for 9 points. And the Penguins 4-6-0 for 8 points. And then in the Atlantic, you have Boston 9-1 for 19 points. Detroit 6-3-1 for 13 points, Toronto 5-3-2, and Montreal 5-3-2 for 12 points. Tampa 4-3-3 for 11, Florida 5-4-1 for 11, Buffalo 5-5-0 for 10, and Ottawa 4-6-0 for 8. And if you go back to the very first season of the new division standings, back in 13-14, when the divisions were realigned from 6 divisions of 5 teams to 4 divisions of 8 teams, or at that point it would have been 2 divisions of 8, 2 divisions of 7. If you go back to there, 47 times have the team started in their first 10 games at the 10-game mark with 8 or less points prior to this year. It's not including the 2 COVID seasons and the 8 full 82-game seasons prior to this year. When a team has gotten 8 points or under to start the season, most of those times you don't make the playoffs. Of those 47 teams who wound up hitting the 8 points or less at the 10-game mark, only 4 were able to make the playoffs. That was the 16-17 Nashville Predators, who started with 8 points at a 3-5-2 record, and they crawled into the second wildcard spot that year. That is the 15-16 Anaheim Ducks, who started 1-7-2, wound up winning the Pacific Division with 103 points that year. But you got to remember that the Arizona Coyotes, Calgary Flames, Vancouver Canucks, and Edmonton Oilers, who were all in the Pacific Division that year, all were under 80 points. So it was a really easy division to win for the Anaheim Ducks, even after a very sour start. And then the very first year that this new division system was used, in 13-14, both the Flyers and the New York Rangers started with 3-7-0 record for 6 points and wound up making the playoffs. But you also have to remember that both teams wound up crawling into the playoffs. Even though they were second and third in the Metro, Rangers only made it by 6 points, Flyers only made it by 4 points. So usually if you start with under 8 points in the first 10 games, you're not getting back to make the playoffs. And if you look at the teams who currently have under 8 points to start the season, Sens 4-6-0, 8 points. Penguins 4-6-0, 8 points. Preds 4-6-0, 8 points. Hawks 4-6-0, 8 points. Wild 3-5-2, 8 points. Kraken 3-5-2, 8 points. Flames and Oilers 2-7-1, 5 points, and the Sharks are 0-9-1 for 1 point. So there might be 1 or 2 exceptions we've seen in the past where a team has a horrible start, they're able to come back, they're able to make the playoffs. How many of these teams were expected to be huge playoff contenders this year? Ottawa, I was expecting to make the playoffs. Pittsburgh, I was expecting to make the playoffs. Same with Minnesota, same with Seattle, same with Calgary to at least contend for a playoff spot. I was also expecting Edmonton to be the Pacific Division winner. The difference between Edmonton and Vegas at the 10-game mark is 14 points. How is Edmonton going to gain 14 points on Vegas as the way they're playing right now? I expect Edmonton to beat the Pacific Division and win it. I'm not overly confident in that anymore. So it'll be interesting to see. I'd love to hear what you guys think down in the comments. Is it basically season done for those 9 teams? Seattle, Calgary, Edmonton, San Jose, Minnesota, Nashville, Chicago, Ottawa, Pittsburgh. Is it season done for those 9 teams? Or do you see 1 or 2 of those guys being able to sneak their way into the playoffs after a horrible start? Definitely. I'd love to hear what you guys think and which games you liked in the last few days of the last few game reviews down in the comments below. But that's all I'm going to talk about for today. Remember to like this video. If you're really sure, remember to subscribe down below. We're so close to 100 subscribers, so thank you for all of your support. I would never be able to do this with all of you guys, so don't forget to subscribe. I also have a blog talking about news, rumors, analysis, stuff like that, so definitely check that out. I'll leave a link to that in the description below, and I can't wait to see you guys all for the next video. See you guys soon.